children under 18 make up more than 1/3 of the world's population. In 2017, there were approximately 2.5 billion children, and on current trends, another 2 billion will be born by 2025. In New South Wales alone, there are currently 1.7 million children. In numbers alone, children are central to the world we live in, as they make up a large and important part of society. Investing in children is both an opportunity and a duty.
It is an opportunity because the gains achieved through better nutrition, healthcare, education and protection are likely to be far greater and longer lasting than those in almost any other area. And it is our duty because children everywhere have human rights from the very beginning of their lives. These rights include the right to survive and develop, to be protected from violence, abuse and exploitation, to have their views respected, and have actions concerning them to be taken in their best interests.
These rights are found in a number of treaties and international standards, most importantly in the 1989 Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC. The CRC matters more than many people imagine. For one, in recognising that children have rights, it becomes a government's responsibility to respect, protect and fulfil these rights, rather than an optional act of charity or kindness. The CRC binds governments to a set of internationally accepted human rights articles that must be followed. This means that people who work for the government must consider and apply the provisions of the CRC in all aspects of their work affecting children.
The CRC provides a way to monitor government's progress on children's rights, and a basis for children's organisations, advocates and children themselves to argue for change. Full implementation of the CRC goes a long way to ensuring that each child's entitlement to equality, dignity and respect is upheld. There's been a long-standing focus on protecting vulnerable children as a charitable response to suffering. However, at the start of the 20th century, some activists started promoting the idea that children should have rights. In 1924, with the aftermath of the First World War, Eglantine Jebb and others campaigned for the first International Declaration of the Rights of the Child.
During the International Year of the Child in 1979, Poland proposed that there should be a convention for children. Over the next decade, countries around the world debated and negotiated the text of what would become the most widely supported human rights treaty the UN ever produced, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child.
The United Nations is an international organisation committed to maintaining peace, security and promoting human rights. One of the ways it does this is through international human rights agreements. The CRC is one of these and sets a global human rights agenda for every person under the age of 18. It was recognised by nearly every UN member state in 1989. And is now the world's most ratified human rights treaty. In Australia, the CRC was ratified in December 1990.
Those who benefit from human rights treaties are known as rights holders. So, in this case, anyone under the age of 18 is a rights holder. This applies irrespective of their sex, gender, religion, race, disability, sexuality, and even whether they're a citizen of the country or not. Parents and guardians are of course central in the lives and development of children. Under the Convention, they are entitled to assistance from the state in raising their children.
Countries that ratify treaties are called states parties. In agreeing to be bound by these treaties, they become known as duty bearers, meaning that they have the duty to uphold the articles of the Convention. In practice, this includes everyone who works for the government, such as police officers, lawyers, teachers and social workers.
As the Convention is an agreement between states parties, individual citizens do not have any responsibility to uphold it. However, if they work for or act on behalf of the country's government, then they do. For example, if there's a culture of bullying in a school, the school has responsibility to take appropriate action so that all the children can learn in a safe environment.
The children are not under any obligations under the Convention, but should, of course, be guided by staff not to infringe the rights of the child being bullied.
The Convention describes the obligation states parties have to all children living within its borders. The Convention is wide-reaching and covers many aspects of children's lives. Rights are described by articles. There are 4 important articles that apply across all other rights in the Convention. Article 2 is the right to non-discrimination. It affirms that state parties shall respect and ensure the rights set forth in the present convention to each child within their jurisdiction without discrimination of any kind, irrespective of the child's or his or her parents' or legal guardian's race, colour, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national, ethnic or social origin, property, disability, birth or other status.
Article 3 is about children's best interests. It states, in all actions concerning children, whether undertaken by public or private social welfare institutions, courts of law, administrative authorities or legislative bodies, the best interests of the child shall be a primary consideration.
Article 6 is to the right of life, survival and development. It states that every child has the inherent right to life and that states parties shall ensure to the maximum extent possible the survival and development of the child.
Article 12 is the right to participate. It provides that any child who is capable of forming his or her own views has the right to express those views freely in all matters affecting a child, and their views must be given due weight in accordance with the age and maturity of the child.
In addition, Article 30 of the CRC affirms that all children, including First Nations children, have the right to enjoy their own culture and to use their own language.
The other rights can be grouped into 5 categories, including civil rights and freedoms, family environment and alternative care, health and welfare, education and leisure, and special protection measures that cover children in emergency situations, justice systems, child exploitation, and children belonging to minority groups. These rights are indivisible and interdependent. That means that the failure to provide for one can affect the enjoyment of the others. For example, if the state fails to ensure that children have an adequate standard of living, children might not be healthy, able to develop, or learn to their full potential. An additional 3 optional protocols have been included in the Convention over the years, related to military conflict, the sale of children, and individual complaints by children to the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child.
The committee is made up by a team of independent experts who continually monitor and enforce the CRC. States must submit a progress report to the committee every 5 years, and their assessment is supplemented from other organisations such as NGOs and children's commissioners.
Children can also submit evidence to the committee, sometimes in person by attending the committee meeting. The output of the whole process is a report called the Concluding Observations. It summarises the committee's views on the state of children's rights in each country. But it doesn't stop there. The report also provides implementation and improvement recommendations to each individual state, which it will review the next time the country is examined. The Convention requires states to put its obligations into local laws, such as national constitutions and legislation. If this is done, the principles can be enforced in local courts. The committee also suggests that to ensure meaningful rights protection is afforded to every child, states should have a national plan for children. They should also monitor how much of the budget is spent on children, conduct regular impact assessments throughout every government department using reliable data about children's lives, and have an independent children's ombudsman.
In New South Wales, there's an independent advocate for children and young people, as well as a whole-of-government strategic plan for children and young people. Another important way to ensure the Convention is properly implemented is by raising awareness of its existence.
Countries must make sure that it is widely known by both adults and children. Regular training of adults and children contribute to societies that respect the rights of children.
Whether governments' decisions relate to trade or taxation, diplomacy or debt,
There is no such thing as a child-neutral policy, law, budget, program, or plan.
The CRC reminds us of the fundamental importance of children's rights.
All children must have an equal opportunity
to survive, develop,
And reach their full potential
without discrimination
Or exclusion.